Well, I'm sitting here inside my Tesla Model S 75D. I've owned this car for just over 2 years now. I made a video 2 years ago about the top 10 reasons why I bought a Tesla, and 2 years later I'm still very satisfied with that decision. I've got plenty to share about what it's like to own and drive an electric car. So we're going to be talking about things like charging, running costs, maintenance, repairs, and all that in this video. The first thing I'll start off with is driving the car. Electric car is a totally different proposition to driving an internal combustion engine car. ICE, we call them, which is short for internal combustion engine. The first thing you'll know about an electric car is it's quiet. A lot of people actually can't hear you when you're driving near them. I find this is something that you really have to be careful about, especially in places like shopping centre car parks where people are walking around looking at their phones and not really paying attention. So that's one thing I've really had to be mindful of, is that people actually not hearing me driving near them. So something you really need to keep in mind. One of the most often asked questions I get about driving a Tesla is, how far can it go on a single charge? What's its range? For this particular car, the 75D, range on a full charge is about 490 kilometers, which is a fair way. You could be driving for quite some time before you need to recharge. So the range isn't an issue for me, especially now with the number of chargers there are about. There are way more chargers around today than there were 2 years ago when I first bought the car. Supercharging is obviously the fastest way to charge the car. I normally supercharge my car once a week, and that charge normally lasts me for that entire week. Unless I have some other longer trips or a busier week, a lot of meetings, I can use my home charger, which I do to top up the battery whenever I need to. Supercharging normally takes about 40 minutes once a week, and in that time I normally occupy myself with watching some shows on my some Netflix on my iPad, or reading a book, or even doing some work. I sit in the passenger seat actually while I'm supercharging if I need to use my laptop, for example, so I can still get plenty of work done while I'm charging. So it's not really a hassle. A lot of people kind of they think that having to wait so long to charge your car after driving a petrol vehicle that takes minutes to fill up, that's a huge change, but it actually isn't. In the 2 years that I've owned this car, I have not spent a single dollar running it. So I've had free supercharging for the life of the car as a result of a referral code that I used when I purchased the vehicle. I've also got my own charger at home, which is powered through solar panels, so I don't need, there's no electricity bill that I receive at home, because all the power that I use to charge my car is from the sun through my solar panels. And I also use, of course, all the community chargers that are available in shopping centres and car parks and all those other places, and they're generally free as well. Even when I go watch my mighty South Sydney Rabbitohs play at ANZ Stadium, there are 2 Tesla charging spots there in the P1 car park, and I'm usually there to grab the first one, so that's free charging as well. The only amount of money I've spent on the car was when I had a flat tire, because a Tesla doesn't come with a spare tire, and I discovered that a nail or a screw I'd run over a screw and had punctured my tire, and I was unable to drive the car, of course, but I had to call Tesla roadside assistance for them to come and replace the tire. So they came, they brought a spare, they took my tire to the nearest service centre, and they told me that the tire can be repaired. There wasn't any need to buy a new tire. So the only money I've ever spent is the $70 they charged me to repair that tire, and then they fitted that tire back on the car. There was one other incident after about 4 or 5 months of ownership. I was actually involved in an accident. Someone opened their door while I was driving by and smashed my side mirror and damaged all the passenger side of the car, and obviously the car had to be repaired. Now, you need to find an authorized Tesla repairer to complete the work, because they need to, there's all welding involved and all this work. And I discovered that repairing a car like the Tesla does actually take some time. My car took about 4 to 5 weeks to repair, but that was actually relatively short. I've heard plenty of horror stories where repairs to a Tesla have taken several months. Running the car is pretty easy as well. In terms of maintenance, I haven't had a major service yet. I don't think I've had run enough kilometers in the car to require a full service. I had booked in a service after a year of owning the car, and they simply asked me over the phone how many kilometers are on the car, which was less than 10,000. And well, they said, well, my brakes were fine and my tires were fine, and they cancelled the appointment. They said it wasn't required. So I've just crossed over the 2-year mark, and I've booked my car in for its very first major maintenance service. One other issue I had with the car was one of the rear door handles. I think the rear passenger door handle. There was something wrong with the motor, because on the Model S, the handles actually come out of the car and then retract once you're driving. There was an issue with the back rear passenger handle, and as a result, it sometimes actually opened the door because the handle was playing up. It was like it was acting as if someone had actually pulled on the handle to open the door and was actually opening that back door. So I had to be pretty careful there, but it was a really minor repair that was again fixed under warranty. I've been driving this car for 2 years now, and it is better today than the day that I bought it. It's very hard to say that about any other type of car, but you can say that about the Tesla. In fact, the day I picked my car up, I was told, this is the worst your car will be. And at the time, I didn't quite understand what he meant, but in the 2 years that I've owned the car, there have been numerous software updates that have made this car even better. There are also, it's added a lot of new features to the car as well. So he was right, it has gotten better with age. One major improvement of the car has been enhanced autopilot. Now that was a feature that I paid extra to add to the car after I purchased the car. So I bought the car, did not have enhanced autopilot. I paid to have enhanced autopilot added to the car about 6 months after I took ownership. In that time, enhanced autopilot has been really handy and has also been improved over time with additional features as well. Enhanced autopilot includes not only the car driving itself on freeways and in highway situations, but enhanced autopilot also includes things like summon, also includes smart summon, and also includes now auto park as well. So when I pull up to a parking spot, I simply indicate, put the car into reverse, and if auto park is available, it'll appear on the screen and I hit the button. The other features that come with enhanced autopilot are summon and smart summon. Summon has been around for a while, and it allows you to move your car with your smartphone using the Tesla app. Very handy if you're in a tight parking spot, if you want to just move your car slightly, and it's like performing a magic trick. When you show this to people, they're fascinated that you can actually move your car without anyone behind the wheel. But the other new feature that is really, really cool is smart summon. Now this is a feature that they still class this as being in the beta stage, but this is a feature that allows you to summon your car from a distance. So you may be in a car park, for example, and your car may be parked a few meters away or up to 20, 30 meters away, and smart summon allows you to call the car to bring the car to your present location. So imagine you're at the entrance of a shopping center. I'm actually driving into a shopping center now, and your car is parked 30 meters away and it's raining. You can technically use smart summon to bring the car to your location. So you could be undercover away from the rain and the car will drive itself to you. One of the coolest new additions to the car in terms of the features, and every time there's a software update, it's really exciting because you think you're going to get a lot of new features, and you do. One in particular was really exciting because I already have enhanced autopilot in my car, and one of the features that was enabled through enhanced autopilot thanks to a software update was a feature called Navigate on Autopilot. So what this means is that if I set a destination to navigate to, and I am able, every time I engage autopilot, the car navigates the journey itself. So an example would be when I need to go from my place in the eastern suburbs of Sydney here, and I have to go over to the north side to a studio to do one of my tech segments. The car drove itself from the various different freeways, changed lanes to accommodate that merge to the new highways and freeways, and even indicated and moved the car in towards the exit when I was approaching my destination. So it took all the guesswork out of the trip, right down to that granular detail of putting me in the right lane for those changes, and even navigating around slower traffic, changing lanes to get around slower cars as well. Remarkable update. I thought autopilot was a fantastic update. It fascinates me every single time I use it, but now that I've got Navigate by Autopilot, it is even better. There have been so many new features added to this car thanks to software updates over the last couple of years, including a major operating system upgrade. So the whole look and feel of the user interface was completely changed and improved after only about 6 months of ownership. Today there are several new features that have been added that make this car even better. One of them is the ability to turn all the cameras in the car, or especially the front-facing cameras, into a dash cam. When the dash cam feature was added, it was something I didn't really need because I'd already installed a dash cam in my car. I installed the Blackview 4K front-facing dash cam, and the rear camera is full high definition. So dash cam, I was okay, but it was another feature that Tesla added that I have been making use of, and that's Sentry Mode. Sentry Mode also makes use of your side cameras. These are the cameras that can help detect other vehicles on the road, especially when you're using autopilot. But Sentry Mode is particularly useful when the car is parked. In fact, that's the only time it's used. It does detect events around your car. So if someone comes past your car or comes near your car, then it will record that event. Often I come back to the car and there'll be a message on the dash telling me that there were 3, or whatever the number is, 4 Sentry events recorded. Now this feature has actually caught a few people out. There was one case here in Australia in particular where a woman keyed a car. So she scratched a Tesla in a car park, and Sentry Mode caught her red-handed. It made news, made headlines around the world. And another improvement to the car through software updates has been the addition of more games. There were already games built in, pretty simple games, but now there's a whole range, including backgammon and asteroids, lunar lander. There's also another section called the Toy Box, which allows you to do things like you use the screen as a sketch pad. There's even romance mode now as well, which creates a fireplace on the screen and allows you to romance your partner. It even plays Barry White music and really sets the mood. But just one of those quirky little features that they've added. Another is being able to change your turn signal to a fart noise, would you believe? So Tesla has quite a sense of humor when it comes to adding features to the car, and in this fun way, it just they've added that little bit more enjoyment. But I really love driving this car, and there's been no shortage of fascination by other people when they discover that you drive a Tesla. They want to sit inside it. They're always fascinated by the size of the large display in the car as well, and they're always full of questions. I think there's a lot of curiosity when it comes to with people, whenever they see a Tesla, they're really curious to find out about it, to hear about what it's like to drive it, and hopefully this video helps you judge for yourself and maybe help you make your decision on whether you want to drive an electric car in the future.